Nice to connect with you.
Most welcome, Prabuji. Welcome.
Thank you.
So these 3 courses will be great. I'm sure you're going to benefit a lot. I'm going to try.
Yes, Prabuji.
Together we are going to learn. I always emphasize that I'm not a teacher. I'm a fellow student. And indeed, I am learning, and I just share what I learn and what I realize. Thank you.
I know you are so dedicated, so I don't need introduction. I know you. So nice, Prabuji. Thank you. Thank you for accepting me on the class. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's my honor. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, Haribol, everyone. So let's move on. So now I already walked you through that. So what we are going to do to register in our mind, we are going to revisit all these different lessons. So it'll register you. But now you become familiar, you just walk through again, and very easily it'll now register in your long-term memory before we actually get into it, dive into it tomorrow onwards. Okay. So this is the same slide, but in a different format. So again, introduction, lesson 1, value of devotion, basically same thing that you see right here. So it's the visual revisit, okay? Again, the chapter 3, 4, 5, the means of achievement, pure and mixed devotion, relative comparison, that's what we are familiar with it, so that we would know what this pure devotional service is all about. Pure bhakti, bhakti mixed with modes, and the glories and some obstacles we may face on the path of devotional service. So we need to be familiar with that, and how to tackle that also Narada is introducing to us. And those who practicing, who are pure devotees, their glorification. And then finally, when you attain perfection, how can you be sure you did? So this is the very first verse. Now we are going to learn something beginning, very important. This is what the Sutra is all about. This is a typically particular verse, Sutra, that gives an idea what in a minimum number of words you can get depth of knowledge, philosophy. Okay? So the verse is here, Athato Bhaktin Vyakya Asyama. Athato, it's like you must be familiar with this Vedanta Sutra, right? Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now is the time for this inquisitiveness to know who is the Supreme. So here also, Athato, therefore, when somebody says therefore, that means there's a hidden thing is there, that something is there given before. Now he's saying this. So what is that something given before? So we're going to learn on that. So the Athato, now we are ready to get, to learn, to hear the Sanskrit of Vyakya. Vyakya means definition. So he's going to explain to us, he's going to explain the details of devotional services, Parabhakti, that we talked about. Asyama means he is going to, Narada Muni is going to tell us, this is what the verse is all about. Now, therefore, I will try to explain the process of devotional service. So see, but how much depth of knowledge in there is simple words that Prabhupada is trying to explain to us. Yeah. So there are 4 points to it, okay? In this picture, you can see this Narada Muni through his Veena is glorifying his pure devotional service and how he's giving discourse to Srila Vyasadeva. Okay? So the first point, a self-realized person at the Brahma Bhuta stage. Now this is a technical word. What is Brahma Bhuta? Brahma Bhuta stage means that at that stage you become self-realized. So what is the self-realization means? And that is the characteristics Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita, right? In 1854, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kamshati. Samaha sarva bhuteshu lavate bhakti param. So So pure devotional service comes when you come to that level, this prerequisite Brahma Bhuta stage. So you must understand what is Brahma Bhuta stage. It's a self-realization. But what is that self-realization? When you come to that stage, how can you tell? That is when you are no more on material platform. And what are the characteristics of that? How can you tell that? At that point, there is no sochati nakamshati. You are not hankering anything after, and you are not lamenting. So on the material platform, something we lose, something valuable, then we become terribly morose, We lament after that. And then something we don't have, we hanker for that. But when we are on a spiritual platform, transforming from material to spiritual platform, those things are not there. You are not hankering anymore. You're not lamenting anything more, So that means you are on a spiritual platform. Okay. And then Saha Sarva Bhuteshu, you look everyone similarly, same. Because you look not for the physical characteristics of the person in front of you, but you look in his heart, just like in our heart. Krishna is sitting, so you focus Krishna in that person's heart. That's why you respect that person. So Samas, everybody is equal to you. So these are the characteristics. And at that point, said Bhakti Labate Param. And that is the point at which pure bhakti begins, when you come to that self-realization position. So Brahma Bhuta stage, it's very, very important to know about that. And remember, there is just a prerequisite, that's not enough. But that's a starting point. When you apply for a professional school, they ask you whether do you have a requisite qualification, and there are entrance exams to prove that. So here, this is what it is required. And then second point, only at this Brahma Bhuta stage or unalloyed bhakti begins at that point. Bhakti, para bhakti, labate para bhakti. So what is Brahma Bhuta stage? That is just the beginning. It's not enough. You have to go from that point onwards. So then that is what called Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam, the science of Krishna. That is what you're going to learn. And Bhagavatam gives this 5 verses very, very beautifully actually explains. Beginning with simply hearing about Krishna. Shrumatam Sukatha Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana. Vidyantasto Bhadrani, Vidunoti Sur Satam. Krishna sitting in our heart as Paramatma. He removes the dirt that is built up because of the lower modes of material nature, Rajaguna, Tamaguna. Okay, so he cleanses the mirror of our heart, Krishna. And then what happens? Then the next verse that we see in our beginning also, right? That we need to have a real sincerity, focus, and that is Bhagavatam Seva. Book Bhagavatam and the devotee Bhagavatam. And then what happened? Tada rajas tabokam bhava adayasya. Chet etir anaviddam sattvam sutta pratishuddhi. So what we are suffering is because the lower modes of material nature, Krishna simply hearing about him, he removes the influence of the lower modes and he places us in the pure mode of goodness. Okay? And then this pure bhakti begins at that point. So there also Krishna emphasizes that. I'm sorry, short of time, so I'm not going to go detail. But this is just a walk through that. The third point, this unalloyed bhakti is beyond this karma, jnana, and yoga. These other 3 ways to become self-realizing. How it is superior to that, that is what explaining that. Definition of unalloyed bhakti, beginning with that. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, Nan Karmadi Anavatam, that particular defining verse. Anukula Yena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakti Uttamam. So definition of pure bhakti. So in the beginning, karma jnana might be useful because you need to know that you are not this physical body, you are spiritual soul, right? So that is the jnana teaches us that. So that is required. But continued practice in that jnana, karma, jnana, and yoga is detrimental, can be detrimental to a bhakti process, because our heart becomes too stoic, too hard. This knowledge about all these things, so we need, and the heart with full of emotions is required to serve Krishna through our emotions. That is the reason. In the long afterwards, you need to go beyond than that. The fourth point: only through bhakti one can understand. Krishna himself says, "Bhaktya mam avijanati." So only through bhakti, not through other things, karma, jnana, and all this. Their process is there, but pure bhakti, pursuit of pure bhakti, is far superior to Krishna. So only through bhakti yoga you can know me as I am. So these are the four basic elements given. There's hidden in this first very verse, simple looking verse. The Prabhupada help us to understand that. So Brahma Bhuta stage, you must have very clear, concise meaning, understanding, realization of that. Then only we can begin our journey. Okay, so these are things we are going to revisit all these things. So I'm going to skip this thing. Let me just one point. So we'll just read the bottom portion, yellow, what I just highlighted in yellow. So this first verse that we just go through that introductory verse, that hints us as the prerequisites. So we must be at the Brahma Bhuta stage. We must be on that platform to begin with that. Then this chapter 1 and chapter 2 that we just already talked about. So that tells us about the objectives and the characteristics of this para bhakti. What is its goal? What you can expect? Just like any course you're learning, the teacher is telling you after you successfully complete the course, this is what we are going to learn. So this is what is telling us. And so para bhakti is superior to all other spiritual disciplines. Then moving on to chapter 3, 4, and 5. So you first, what are the means of going through that? You must give up all the pursuits, sensory pursuits, material pursuits. All the things must be given up. So renunciation is very important. So that how you do? By hearing, chanting, and remembering. So, that Prahlad Maharaj, Narada Bhakti, beginning with simply hearing, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Then pure and mixed devotion. Pure devotion is hearing about him, speaks only of him, and think only of him. That single pointed focus. Unless you have single pointed focus, you cannot attain your goal. When you are multi-focused, then you cannot become master of something. In order to become a master, you have to be totally focused on that, on your goal. Then devotion in the three modes of material nature, according to material motivation, distress brings one to that. So those who come to, maybe it's quite very common actually. When we suffer in this material world, and suffering becomes so intense, and then we want to find ways how I can become free from that. Then somebody tells you that you come to Bhakti platform. So somebody, when they're suffering, it's the one way those who come to this platform. The other one is the Jnana platform. Some become very, very inquisitive about it, genuinely inquisitive about it. Those who come to the Bhakti platform. And finally, once you attain that, what are the characteristics of, remember the final chapter, chapter 12, the lesson 12 that's teaching us, how can you tell? At that point, there are no argumentative debate. You know what it is. So there are no ifs and buts, no arguments about it. All your issues are completely resolved. Now, Chiyante chasya karmani, just evatman ishvaro. And just scriptural injunctions. So you very faithfully follow what the scriptures tells you in order to become self-realization and attain this pure bhakti platform. So then you must sacrifice, you must endure in the learning stage. While you are learning, there are a lot of difficulties, impediments will come, but you must be steady in going further. So so you need to be very patient, and material impediments might come. The next week's lessons are there, and some party is there. And if you go to the parties, if you don't attend, then you are not going to get the particular goal of that. So you must be thoroughly committed to it. Give up other things that you are not after, but temporarily attracting your mind. So you must resist that and keep hearing these classes, these lessons of what Narada is saying. So this, when you achieve that, when you realize that, then you can tell that you are now becoming really, you are now ready to graduate from this course. Hare Krishna. Okay, so now I'll take your questions, comments, and we can freely discuss. So we have about 20 minutes. I wanted to give you open hour about 20 minutes.
Dandavat Pranam Charu Prabhu. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, this first line, self-realized person is eligible to understand Bhakti. This line is perplexing to me because only after you do a lot of sadhana and Bhakti, you come to a self-realized state. But whereas this is talking exactly reverse, only when you reach that stage only you can understand Bhakti. So, I couldn't understand that, Prabhu.
It tells you that, when you go to a professional school, engineering school, a medical school, or even in an undergraduate school, it tells you that when you graduate, you will get these things. But how can you tell? So you need to pass the exams, right? You need to qualify to tell, to show someone that you really have learned that. So this is what Narada is explaining, that when you learn these things, what are these characteristics? So you have these questions, what you just spoke about it. You may have initially all these questions are there, but it's going to be resolved as you go through the course step by step. Today is just an introduction, just walk through that.
Understood.
But you're going to, all your doubts are going to be resolved as you move forward. But this Narada Bhakti Sutra is beginning. When you get to the Madhurya Kadambini, you are really going to go much, much deeper and more advanced levels in that. But this is a good stepping stone for the beginning. I hope I answered.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Yes, Prasad Prabhu.
Audible, Prabhu. Okay, thank you very much, Prabhu. Such a wonderful first session, inauguration session. Thank you very much, Prabhu. All glories to Prabhupada. Okay. All glories to Parampara. Wonderful session, Prabhu, as usual. Just have one question, Prabhu. See, the first sloka itself, you said about Brahma Bhuta Sthiti, which is something very, very high standard one. So my question is suppose I am doing a chanting, I am doing very little devotional service, and whatever I could detaching. But suppose if one leaves a body without reaching that Brahma Bhuta Sthiti, Prabhu, so is there any chance that that person reach to Goloka, or he has to come back to this world and complete that Brahma Bhuta Sthiti and do the pure devotional service, and then only will be allowed to Bhagavad Dham?
Very good question, Prabhu. You asked a really very good question. See, this is telling you, Brahma Bhuta stage, at what point says that at that point your pure bhakti begins. But before you get to that goal, from the point you are, you have to follow this instruction that Narada Muni is saying right in the first verse. And Prabhupada is trying to explain to us what he means, that you have to begin at that point, but the point that your goal is to get to gain pure bhakti, you will get that. Your first stage that you must achieve is this Brahma Bhuta stage. And when will you add Brahma Bhuta stage? When you know, it tells you the characteristics of the Brahma Bhuta stage. Prasannatma, you become very happy. you don't become unhappy because on a material platform, a lot of things that doesn't happen that you expect, and you become very unhappy. But when you have a superior happiness, then you want that. So this material happiness, material distress, all these things you'll be transgressing as you move along. Okay. So what is telling you, you begin only at that point, pure bhakti, but we are not at bhakti, pure bhakti platform. So Narada Muni begins from beginning, and that's why he says, let me explain to you. And explain to you what is the definition of that. And then you reach the pure bhakti platform, and then tells you when you reach the pure bhakti platform, so many impediments will be there on your way, and how to deal with that. He is telling you all these things, but then tells you pure bhakti will begin when you pass that exam. And that exam is about realization of this particular Brahma Bhuta stage that you reach there. He is not telling you that you must be Brahma Sutra right beginning. Brahma Bhuta stage you reach at the time, at the point, now you are aspiring for pure bhakti platform. So you go through this school up to 12 grades, do the undergraduate, okay? And then you become a master's level. But right at this point, if your goal is to go to master's level, what you have to go through that he's trying to explain to us. So that's what he's saying that. So Brahma Bhuta stage, at that point, in order to go to medical school, you must first have a BS degree, right? BSc or BS degree. And then only you can get to medical school. So right when you are undergraduate, when you are just high school, it's telling the student that you need to go through that, you come to that level. I know you want to go to the medical school, you want to go to the engineering school, but what you need to have developed that. That is what I say. I know Narada says you want to develop pure bhakti, but in order to pure bhakti, you must first come to this level. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to guide you how to come to that platform, how to become Brahma Bhuta stage. And that is just a beginning. There's a master before you're going to become a doctorate degree, PhD. So then pure bhakti will go on like that.
Got it, Prabhu. So you want to do pure bhakti, first you need to reach Brahma Bhuta Sthiti. Even for reaching Brahma Bhuta Sthiti, you have to do some level of bhakti.
Yes.
Okay, start with bhakti and then it becomes Brahma Bhuta Sthiti, and then you
will that there is no unnecessary hankering, no unnecessary lamentation. You look, everybody sila samaha sarva bhuteshu. These are the very characteristics of Brahma Bhuta stage. And then you are qualified to become specialized, going to become a doctor or engineer. Now you're going to specialize to become attaining pure bhakti platform. At that point it goes. You get an entrance to a professional school of pure bhakti.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Very detailed explanation. Yeah.
Very
So, maybe it is like impure bhakti, and then you reach a stage, and then you do pure bhakti. Got
what
it.
are the impediments will come along the way, obstacles. Narada Muni is telling us, warning us, obstacles will come on this side, okay? But it prepares us how to tackle those obstacles also. Okay. Any
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Prabhu. Good question. Any other points,
Hare Krishna.
comments?
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Charuchandra Prabuji. Nice class.
Well,
Such a difficult subject you are making so simple, and with your presentation, Prabhuji.
I hope I'm oversimplifying though.
Yeah, and yeah, such a Narad Muni is our even Acharya, right? He's one of the Acharya. Understand his mood and understand bhakti is not easy. With I think your with your explanation, I think we'll slowly understand. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
I'm just like one of the students like you, Whatever I'm learning, I'm sharing with you. Thank you. But we have our acharyas with us. And their guidance,
Yes.
this is a study book is there now.
Yes.
Any other points? Don't be shy. Okay, while you're thinking, I'm going to give an opportunity to Sharat Prabuji. He might want to add something here. Sharat Prabuji, Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Going back to Prasad Prabhuji's question, I'll just explain a little more about this Brahmabhuta stage. As explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita on this verse, 18.54. Here, what we are talking of this Brahmabhuta stage, means in this stage, the removal of all misconceptions and appearances, like the upadhis. We have got so many upadhis. We identify ourselves with so many things that has to cease. Then, because of disappearance of the contamination of the three gunas, this person at the Brahmabhuta stage, he is said to be very, very pure, Prasannatma. Prasanna, Atma. Prasanna means be pure, and Atma means he is the soul. And because of the absence of misconceptions of the body, when he loses something, at that stage he does not lament, and when he fails to attain something, he does not hanker for it. No sochati, no kankyati. Unlike his previous stage, in his previous stage he was something else, but he is transcending to this. And finally he becomes like an innocent child. He regards all beings as equal, whether they are good or bad or anything. And without looking at the externals, he considers everything as good. And at this Brahmabhuta stage, what happens? There is cessation of jnana. Like when the fire is on and the fire dies without fuel, like this in Brahmabhuta stage, the jnana also it dies out. And one attains the highest stage, that is the indestructible bhakti to the Supreme Lord. And how it started, the process, we have been told, hearing, chanting, and the other processes, Napada Bhakti and all that, that we have been told, and more of it we'll be learning in subsequent classes. And how this is happening? Because of the Swarupa Shakti of the Supreme Lord. And Bhakti alone does not disappear, even with the disappearance of Vidya and Avidya. As we know, Vidya and Avidya, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, they are part of Maya Shakti only. And then at this stage, there is neither Vidya nor Avidya. And through Bhakti, which was previously present in very small proportion during the practice of Jnana and Vairagya, to bring liberation, Bhakti was not clearly visible. But here in this stage, in this verse, it is saying Lavate, meaning it discovers what it discovers. It discovers what is already present within that person. That means this Bhakti is latent in us, it is present in us, and it gets awakened, like though a golden jewel remains hidden when mixed with grains of yellow dal. When the grains are destroyed, the golden jewel, the gold, it shows up. And at this particular time, there is also a possibility of attaining complete prema bhakti. This is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying. And the result of their practice in this case, please remember, it is not Sayurja Mukti. Thus, what in this verse at the end it says Param Bhakti means Prema Bhakti. That is attainment of Prema Bhakti by doing this. That means actual Bhakti starts at this stage, Brahmabhuta stage, and finally it goes up to Prema Bhakti stage. So, thank you, Prabuji. Thank you for giving me a chance to speak. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
you.
Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Prabhupada. So, Sharad Prabhuji and Char Prabhuji, Sharad Prabhuji just now said that the bhakti starts, I mean, from your slides, and also Prabhuji also said that. So, we had a class, two days class from the last week about the bhakti, types of bhakti, like, so when we say the bhakti that starts at the Brahmabhuta stage, is that the Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, Nirguna Swarupa Siddha Bhakti? So I'm just confused because how that relates to the types of bhakti, or the bhakti itself, on a general bhakti itself.
Sarpur, you want to tackle that?
Mataji, actually it is a very gradual process, and here during this Narada Bhakti Sutra, things will be explained later on, how one transcends from where he is to this Brahmabhuta stage and beyond, and he reaches the Prema Bhakti stage. It is a gradual process, and what has been said that we already have this within us, but this is latent, this is not woken up. With this process of hearing and chanting, it finally transcends to that stage. That's what I can say at this stage, but other things will get clear gradually when we go through this course, and later on it will be much more clear when we go through Madhurya Kadambini. Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
No, this is just a preliminary, very introductory lesson, just to get your hands wet. So I purposefully avoided talking all these complex, lofty terms. What Sarpur was telling you about that. But Narad Muni is really helping us to define our goal, know what stage you are, where you need to go, and to from there, that point onwards, how we are going to go to your ultimate goal, the fruit, and that is this pure bhakti. And that will come at the Brahmabhuta stage. And how you reach the Brahmabhuta stage, he's going to let us there. So I just wanted to give you the introduction. My goal, when I started this class, that was my goal. I purposefully avoided all these very complex terms, but you are going to get into it.
Sorry,
So-
Prabhuji. I think I'm mixed up. So yes,
No,
Prabhuji, I got it. I got it here.
Nirguna and over that, see that pure bhakti, when you're developing, somebody has to be a person, somebody who is a nirguna, nirakara, who does not have a form, does not have qualities. How are you going to develop a bhakti for that person, that unless there is a person, So that is very clear. It is very implied meaning to that we are, our goal is to serve, develop love for that somebody who is a person, who has feeling, who has effect, who has emotions, all that. And he has spiritual qualities. Prabhupada explains when they said nirguna, the absolute truth is nirguna, it means it does not have material qualities. It has spiritual qualities. And it has a form, but that form is not material form. It has a spiritual form. And you must develop the spiritual vision to see that. And the only way that you hope to see that particular form, beautiful form, is developing this divine vision. And the divine vision is this pure bhakti. From a lens of bhakti, that you're going to be able to visualize Krishna, who is all spiritual.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, thanks for such a nice lecture, and we have initiated with Narada Bhakti Sutra. Prabhuji, with the Sutra one, my question was, Brahma Bhuta stage, it is on Jnana Marga, na?
The Gyanis,
and devotees do not require it.
The Gyanis have, that is the ultimate goal, that reach to that stage and then merge with the Supreme, but our process, it begins from that point onwards, pure bhakti. That is a big difference, So it's a Gyanis, they have that particular goal, but we have to have that preliminary knowledge who we are. We are not material persons. We are all spiritual beings, and Krishna is all spiritual, and we develop the spiritual love for Krishna. That is what. So our journey actually begins from that point onwards. The Gyanis end their journey and they want to commit. Prabhupada likes to characterize a spiritual suicide. They just want to merge. It's called Brahma Sayujya Mukti. From this impersonal Brahma Jyoti, they want to merge. So our goal is not, our goal is goes beyond than that. But we first need to reach that particular point in order to qualify to become specialized in pure bhakti.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
I think we are just approaching. I would like to start on time and I like to end on time. Sometimes maybe 5 minutes here and there. So looks like, unless there are questions, please feel free. Or if you come up with questions later, you can ask tomorrow also, okay? Tomorrow the course really begins in earnest from tomorrow onwards, okay? So I'm going to request if Saga Prabhu is here to conclude the class with Nrsimha prayer. So Lord Nrsimhadev would remove all impediments, all obstacles from our path and lead us to our ultimate goal. So Saga Prabhuji, Hari Bol.
Okay. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obsession. All go to Srila Prabhupada. Namaste Narasimhai. Namaste Narasimhai. Prahlada Dahini. Prahlada Dahini. Hiranyakasi Purvaksahar. Hiranyakasi Purvaksahar. Shilatankar Nathali. Shilatankar Nathali. Ito Narsingha, Parato Narsingha, Ito Narsingha, Parato Narsingha, Ito Yami, Ito Narsingha, Ito Yami, Ito Narsingha, Bhai Narsingha, Hriday Narsingha, Bhai Narsingha, Hriday Narsingha, Narasingha Madhin Saranam Prapade, Narasingha Madhin Saranam Prapade. Avakala Kamala Bhare Nakhadbhuta Singam Dalita Hiranyakasipur Tanubringam Kesavadita Narahri Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Avakala Kamala Bhare Nakhadbhuta Singam Dalita Hiranyakasipur Tanubringam Kesavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare. Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki jai, Bhakta Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Charuchandra Prabhu ki jai, Sarad Prabhu ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, all assembled devotee ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you very much, Saga Prabhu.
Thank you,
so
Prabhuji.